In the heart of Ravenswood High, an art room stood as a haven for creativity during the day and a chamber of chilling secrets by night. The tale began with Sarah, an exceptionally talented artist with a fascination for the macabre. She often stayed late, sketching and painting, as the world outside the windows darkened into obsidian. One stormy evening, as rain hammered against the windows, Sarah felt an odd sensation, a prickling at the back of her neck, as if eyes were boring into her. She shrugged it off, attributing it to her imagination running wild. But when her paintbrushes began to move on their own accord, Sarah's heart leapt in her chest. Terrified, she looked around, her gaze landing on a corner of the room. A shadowy figure, barely visible in the dim light, stood there. Fear gripped her as the figure slowly advanced, its movements jerky and unnatural. Sarah's heart raced as she realized there was no rational explanation for what she was witnessing. The room's temperature dropped rapidly, causing her breath to mist in the air. The paintings on the walls seemed to warp and twist, their vibrant colors turning into grotesque swirls of darkness. Sarah's fear intensified, but a strange compulsion drew her toward the apparition. The room seemed to pulse with an otherworldly energy, drowning out her rational thoughts. As the figure drew closer, its features became more defined. A young girl with matted hair covering her face, dressed in tattered clothes. The room was suffused with an eerie glow, casting long, wavering shadows that danced around them. The girl's eyes glinted with an unnatural light, and Sarah felt a surge of emotions, grief, anger, and an overwhelming sense of loss. Trembling, Sarah reached out tentatively, her fingers brushing against the girl's spectral form. The room seemed to hold its breath, the air growing thick with tension. Images flashed before Sarah's eyes, visions of the girl's tragic past, how she had been an art prodigy of Ravenswood High, until a horrific accident had cut her life short within these very walls. Driven by a mixture of fear and empathy, Sarah delved into the school's archives, determined to uncover the truth behind the girl's death. Late nights were spent poring over old yearbooks and newspaper clippings until she pieced together the events that had led to the girl's demise. Armed with this knowledge, Sarah returned to the art room, her heart heavy with sorrow for the tormented spirit. The room seemed to vibrate with anticipation as she recounted the story of the girl's life, her dreams, and the tragic accident that had stolen her future. As Sarah spoke, the room brightened, the darkness receding to reveal a sense of peace. The ghostly girl's features softened, and her eyes, once filled with sorrow, held a glimmer of gratitude. With a final, gentle smile, the girl's form dissolved into a cascade of light, leaving behind an atmosphere of warmth and creative energy. From that day on, the art room's sinister aura lifted, replaced by an inspiring energy that fueled the students' imagination. Sarah's own paintings took on a new depth, capturing the girl's story and emotions with uncanny accuracy. The tale of the haunted art room transformed from a chilling legend into a testament of the power of art to transcend life and death. In the remote town of Ravenswood, the local high school stood as a looming edifice of forgotten history. Rumors swirled among the students that the school was haunted, but most dismissed these tales as mere superstition. Emma, a bookish student, scoffed at the idea of ghosts and the supernatural. Yet one fateful evening, her skepticism would be shattered. Emma found herself in the school's library, engrossed in her studies, as the moon cast eerie shadows through the windows. Glancing at the clock, she realized she had lost track of time and was now alone in the dimly lit building. Determined to finish her assignment, she brushed off the sense of unease that had settled in the pit of her stomach. As the minutes ticked by, a peculiar sound reached her ears, a soft, barely audible whisper. Emma frowned, attributing it to the wind outside or her fatigued imagination. But when the whisper persisted, growing clearer and more distinct, a shiver ran down her spine. Setting aside her books, Emma ventured into the hallway, following the ethereal sound. The hall was suffused with an otherworldly glow, casting long, wavering shadows that seemed to dance in rhythm to the whispers. The voice was impossible to decipher, a chorus of overlapping murmurs that echoed off the cold stone walls. The hallway stretched on, seemingly endless, as Emma felt herself drawn deeper into its heart. Her breath misted in the air, though the whispers seemed to infiltrate her mind, an incessant onslaught that drowned out her thoughts. Panic began to creep in, but a strange compulsion held her captive. Finally, at the end of the hallway, she discovered an ancient locker, its metal surface tarnished with age. The whispers emanated from within, a cacophony of despair and longing. Trembling, Emma reached out, her fingers brushing the icy metal. The locker burst open with a jarring creak, revealing an abyss of darkness that seemed to swallow the surrounding light. The whispers crescendoed, enveloping Emma in a vortex of sound. Shadowy figures emerged from the darkness, their contorted forms writhing with torment. Frozen in terror, Emma could only watch as the figures drew closer, their hollow eyes fixed on her. The temperature plummeted, and the air grew thick with an oppressive heaviness. Just as the figures were about to engulf her, Emma's survival instincts kicked in. With a scream, she tore her gaze away, breaking the trance that had held her captive. She slammed the locker shut, the echoes of the whispers abruptly silenced. The hallway returned to its normal state, the shadows receding, and the air warming once again. Gasping for breath, Emma stumbled back, her heart racing. The encounter had shaken her to the core, shattering her rational beliefs. From that day forward, she couldn't shake the feeling that the whispers were still with her, lingering on the edge of her perception. The hallway had shown her a glimpse of a world beyond the living, a world of tortured souls and haunting echoes that defied explanation. A world she could never forget. In the heart of Elmridge High, a sinister legend cast a shadow over an otherwise ordinary yearbook. Each year, a particular page depicted a group of students who had vanished without a trace. This enigmatic page was rumored to hold a curse that would be put to the test by a group of friends, Alex, Mia, and Daniel. Curiosity had always been their driving force, so it was only a matter of time before the trio found themselves huddled around the yearbook, its pages filled with memories and faces frozen in time. The cursed page held an eerie allure, and they dared each other to look at the photos for an extended period, defying the whispered warnings of the students who had gone before them. As they stared, the photos seemed to come to life, the students' eyes following their every movement. Unnerved but determined not to back down, they pressed on. Minutes turned to hours, and the air grew thick with a palpable tension. A subtle change began to take hold. The room darkened, and a chill pervaded the air, despite the warm summer night outside. Whispered voices seemed to emanate from the yearbook, faint at first, then growing in volume and intensity. Shadows danced along the walls, twisting and contorting into unnatural shapes. The friends exchanged uneasy glances, the bravado of their challenge now replaced by a sense of dread. As the clock struck midnight, the room plunged into darkness. Panic gripped them, and they fumbled for a light source. The room seemed to warp and shift around them, and the missing students from the cursed page materialized before their eyes, their faces twisted in anguish and despair. Frozen in terror, Alex, Mia, and Daniel watched as the ghostly figures drew closer, their eyes void of life. A sense of hopelessness washed over them, and the room's atmosphere became suffocatingly heavy. The ghosts reached out, their fingers icy to the touch, sending shivers down their spines. Desperation took hold, and Alex's mind raced. He recalled an old journal he had stumbled upon, one that mentioned breaking the curse by confronting the spirits with an act of courage. Gathering his strength, he stepped forward, his voice shaky yet resolute. With trembling words, he confessed his own fears and regrets, laying bare his vulnerabilities. To his astonishment, the room seemed to respond. The shadows retreated, the cold lifted, and the figure's anguished expressions softened. Encouraged, Mia and Daniel joined in, facing their own fears and opening their hearts to the spirits. With each confession, the room brightened, and the ghosts gradually transformed. The air filled with a blinding light, and the room returned to its normal state. The yearbook lay open before them, the cursed page now holding a sense of peace, the faces of the missing students expressing gratitude rather than torment. Word of their encounter spread like wildfire through Elmridge High, turning the once feared yearbook page into a symbol of triumph over the unknown. The friends, bonded by their shared experience, became local legends. As they looked back, they realized that they hadn't just broken a curse. They had bridged the gap between the living and the spirits, reminding everyone that sometimes facing our deepest fears can lead to the most unexpected forms of redemption. Thank you for watching. Remember, if you haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time to become an official member of this channel. Just click that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss out. If you haven't already, smash that like button to show your support and let us know you're enjoying the content. Thank you.